Welcome back to Hiking with Kathleen. In last week's episode 1 of Wheatley Provincial Park, we just finished exploring Jack Marner Bird Sanctuary yesterday. So you'll see that and all kinds of fantastic bird footage found on our first couple of days here at Wheatley. Today, episode 2, we are just about to embark on a day trip down to Point Pelee National Park. And of course, we're going to continue our travels around Wheatley Provincial Park. Stay tuned for that and all kinds of fantastic birding footage. Okay, so we're starting off at a lookout that's at the Marsh Boardwalk. And there's a trek that goes right around this marsh. It's a boardwalk. It keeps your feet dry and it keeps you out of the marsh itself. So it's a really effective way of being able to see whatever wildlife happens to live in this marsh habitat. So Shannon and I are going to make our way around. It's early in the day. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. And after that, we're probably going to hit another trail and then come back here and paddle our way from this marsh out to Lake Erie. So we're going to bring you along on that. Okay, so we're going to hike the Woodland Trail, which is right behind the Visitor Center. And as you can see, I'm not taking any chances. It is marshy in there, swampy in there, so I figure there might be buggy in there. So I have my bug shirt on. We'll see how it goes. Well, I'm glad that I went back to get my bug shirt. Shannon didn't have her bug shirt with her on this camping trip, so she's using the bug net that I have for just over the head, and so she's just walking on a little bit. But yeah, it's surprisingly very buggy here. We're not even near the swampy area, but anyway, it's just beautiful in here. So I'm trying to take this in through the bug net. So we just went to the point, which is the southernmost tip of mainland Canada. That is what Point Pelee is renowned for. This is where the water currents are very dangerous because they're colliding from two different directions. So it's very dangerous for wading and for swimming in, but it's beautiful to watch. going to do. Okay, so we are out in the Boardwalk Marsh at Point Pelee, and this is the sponsored part of today's video. Today we are doing a test run with our brand new canoe from H2O. Shannon is going to talk more about that later on, but this is our first time putting it in the water. So we're quite excited about being back in a canoe. It's been, well, several years because we've been using our kayaks for the last several years. But this is a really nice, smooth way of traveling, and it gives me a great advantage to be able to shoot video. I didn't bring my tripod today, but that's another thing that traveling by canoe in a wildlife area is really good at doing. Okay, so let's see what we find today. So we're just leaving the marsh area, and you can see that we're now into open water. As we continue, we're actually going to be going into Lake Erie. But because my wife's indicator light was on, we're going to be turning to the right to follow the shoreline. And oftentimes we like to do that because that's where we might find wildlife. And that is the most interesting thing about paddling for us. When we were out at the point earlier today, we saw that there were some whitecaps on Lake Erie. And so sometimes the lake can be very calm, but other times it can be pretty windy. So it's not fun when you're paddling against the wind. So we'll stick close to the shore, and that way it helps to buffer us from a lot of activity where the waves blow us around. I saw that. So we just finished having a little breakout here. And I was having a closer look at the swans. So those are mute swans. There's a couple of pairs out here. And there's some Canada geese that are also honking in the background. So that's what we've seen. We've seen a couple of bald eagles, like as we were getting ready to launch the canoe. I wasn't able to capture them, but I mean, it's really neat to see bald eagles as they're flying around through the marshland. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to continue exploring this area. So we're going to put our paddles to the test. Shannon and I are both using brand new paddles, and so that sort of fits with going with this brand new canoe. Oh, Badger is the name of the company that makes them, and Ottertail is the style. Shannon knows that because she bought this for me as a birthday present a few years ago, and we just haven't been out to a sandy enough area. We've done paddling but in rocky areas, and I wouldn't want to use a wooden paddle for that. So I'm very excited that I have this brand new paddle, and it's been working like a charm. So Shannon, you have a brand new paddle. So we're going to have a look at Shannon's. And so what is it, Shannon?
It's a Whiskey Jack bent shaft paddle.
And the intended primary purpose for a paddle like that is?
With a bent shaft paddle, you can move more water, so you can move faster in the water.
So it's meant for moving water, right? Like white water?
No, it's just for, yeah, it can be white water too, but it's more for faster touring.
Okay, so what Shannon was saying, in case that message was distorted because of wind and all, it is meant for faster travel when you're touring by canoe. And so, again, the name of it is?
It's a Whiskey Jack bent shaft paddle.
So it's called a Whiskey Jack bent shaft paddle. And it lives up to its name because that is the shape of it. So anyway, so we're excited about that. And still to come, Shannon's going to provide some details about this H2O canoe. This is something that we actually saw at Charleston Lake Provincial Park because they had raffle tickets for people that were interested in trying to win it. We just found out we didn't win it, so it's really great that we went ahead and got this one. But Shannon is going to give you some of the nuts and bolts because she did a lot of research on this company and as well as other canoe companies, and that's the reason she made a decision on H2O. So she's going to pare that down for you a little bit later today.
So when we returned home from Charleston Lake, I researched the company H2O using their very detailed website, and I was able to pick a canoe model that would fit our paddling needs. I then called H2O, talked directly to the owner, and shared with him what we were looking for, and he walked me through my options until we found our perfect setup. I chose a 15-foot Bob Special for stability for our photography, and carbon Kevlar to keep the weight down to 36 pounds. Our first paddle included some wind, choppiness, and it handled perfectly. It did not feel tippy at all. We are definitely happy with our purchase.
On our way back from Point Pelee to Wheatley, we stopped in at Pelee Wings. They sell ID guides, paddling gear, scopes, binoculars, and lots of other outfitter goods with knowledgeable staff that provide guidance and advice. Shannon asked about canoe foam roof blocks that are slotted for the canoe gunnels. The two men who were working got up on ladders and removed the makeshift pool noodles and re-secured the ratchet straps to offer more security for highway speeds. They definitely go above and beyond. So this is the end of a really great day. Shannon and I spent the morning just relaxing here because we've had a pretty busy last couple of days. And then today, Friday, we headed into Windsor. Windsor is my hometown. And so we went in to see some friends of mine that I grew up with, as well as my brother and his wife. So that was really rewarding to have those visits. And prior to either of those two visits happening, we drove through my old neighborhood where I grew up. And I went to knock on the door of the next door neighbor to see if I could speak with her. I've seen her many times over the years. Turns out she didn't come to the door this time, but looking through one of the windows facing her house was a young child and a young mother, and they were waving to me. So I said to them, I used to live there. And I was offered the biggest gift ever. The mother went to their front door and brought me on a tour of the house that I hadn't been in for almost 20 years now. So anyway, that was extremely heartwarming. Big changes that have taken place in the house, great improvements. The house looks magnificent. And then I was able to snap a couple of pictures, and on my visit with my brother, I brought some of those images on my camera and showed him, and he got such a kick out of it. I know he wants me to forward those pictures to him. So anyway, this is the end of a really wonderful day, and so Shannon and I are just sitting with our cup of tea, and we're going to have a look at this magnificent view now that we're back in Wheatley. So we're just wrapping up our time here at Wheatley Provincial Park. This footbridge is one of my favorite places to come because from there I feel like I'm halfway across the water, so I can film birds on either side or those that are in the water. So that's a great place to travel to if you ever come to Wheatley Provincial Park. The park is small, it's just the right size, and invariably you have people that you can run into that are, you know, maybe at the site to the right, to the left, and strike up good conversations. In fact, I had that happen earlier today where I met fellow campers, Karen and Doreen. I guess we've been camping side by side for the last few days, but Shannon and I have been so busy exploring the area outside of Wheatley that we only got to meet them today, which is the day before we're leaving. Although we've been here many times before, and Windsor is my hometown, this time we really did make use of the time we had here so that we could go to Jack Miner, which would have been in episode 1. And that was very rewarding because, of course, that's where I got my career as a naturalist started, at that bird sanctuary. And then the next day we went to Point Pelee National Park and just continued exploring around here. But also we took a lot of time to spend with people that matter to us. So we spent time in Windsor visiting with my brother and his wife and some great childhood friends of mine, Bea and Brett. So I'm just over the moon happy. And today we're expecting another visit from friends of ours that live in nearby Kingsville, Mary and Maureen. We spent some time with them the day we went to Jack Miner Bird Sanctuary. And those things really add to the, I guess, the reflective time that I have when I'm out here camping. And later today we're going to have another visit with our friends Mary and Maureen who live in the vicinity. So we're looking forward to that, and we are so happy that you've taken the time to follow us on this adventure. Now stay tuned, because the next adventure you're going to see after Wheatley Provincial Park is our cruise. We are going on an Alaskan cruise, and that's going to probably take place over a couple of episodes, and those won't be released until October. So we have lots to look forward to. Thank you so much for your time. Bye for now.